Alright guys, well, my lovely wife's on her way down with the input shaft kit. I gotta get this little torn down, stripped down the rest of the way. I supposedly have a 75C Challenger coming that will steer. That'll be interesting getting it off the lowboy and getting it in here. I'm kind of wondering, I got two Heim joints now. I got a left and a right, but I'm kind of looking at this and it's kind of almost not looking like a factory type setup. Makes me wonder if somebody's, well, usually you'll have a left and a right hand thread, but look at there, the balls fell clear out of the Heim joints. They're not even there anymore. So she's on her way with those parts. Got the input shaft out. I got to get the new input shaft in, put the bell housing back on, clutch fork, all that good stuff. These showed up yesterday afternoon. So I got valve stem seals. I got all my O-rings, gaskets. There is a rocker box cover gasket. There is a head gasket right there. That one looks to be a little bit better looking shape than the old one. Just kind of eyeballing it here. It should be right. This Cossex tractor parts are aftermarket cat parts, and I've always had really good luck with them. And there's some intake runner gaskets and stuff like that. Okay. So I think what we need to do is trying to figure out what to start on first. I got so many projects lined out here, but I guess I'll wait for her to get the part. I've got to get. It'd be nice to get that out of the way. That way I can get the service truck in right here and work on the Challenger. And then it'd be nice to get this Challenger done, because I got a feeling what I'm going to have that guy do is loop around the north end of that shop here and then come alongside the railroad tracks. And if he can line a lowboy, and I know these guys are loggers, it's probably just a straight up lowboy, I'm thinking. So it's, unless he's got a dovetail trailer, I'm thinking, being it's a logging outfit and he's got this Challenger, he farms too, but I got a feeling it's just a straight up slam bang lowboy, and I think he probably is going to have to pull in. That way he'll take the tongue off a lowboy, and then we can just drive. If he can line up right with this door, then we just unhook the tongue from the trailer there and drive the cat straight off, is what I'm thinking. Because I'm sitting there thinking about this morning, what kind of lowboy trailer, if it was something they had to back off the end, and we would, loop it around the shop and try to get it lined up. But this one here was bought in on a dovetail trailer, and that's what we did. It was kind of a interesting deal when they did that. Anyhow, well, let's get going on this. Alright guys, so here is our input shaft kit. What brand is this one here? This is worldamerican.com. This is a K2468-T clutch install. So it comes with your bearing retainer, comes with a pilot bearing, comes with a clutch brake, comes with your input shaft bearing, comes with two different styles of input shaft or cross shaft bushings, come with a clutch fork, and of course a new input shaft. And underneath here, there's our bearing retainer and our shift tower gasket, bearing retainer gasket, and our bell housing gasket. So put an input shaft slider in there. Flywheel sitting over there on the bench, or the old saw. Here, and let's put the input shaft in it. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see. I'm trying to get as much light as I can. Remember, we're underneath the truck still, so how's that? Maybe you can see that. Okay, input shaft. Slide that in there. Here's your input shaft snap ring. This is a new snap ring. And just kind of try to look for my groove there. Where's it at? There it is. Usually these aren't too bad here to put in. There's that. Alright guys. After you slide your input shaft in there, and there's a spacer. That spacer will go in there after the snap ring. Okay, and then you can put your bearing in. Alright guys, so for some reason the audio just quit on this clip. So anyway, put that bearing in there, and what I do is I just take my air hammer, and on the inner race of the bearing, I'll just kind of hold the input shaft and kind of pull back on it towards me while I vibrate on it, and usually they just kind of go right in there and don't have any problems with it. You just got to be careful. Just use a flat. Don't use like a a flat punch on your air hammer or something, so you don't slip off and hit the rollers or something there. That's where your guy can get screwed up. But anyhow, if you just kind of get her lined up there and hold out on it, it'll pull that input shaft right out where the snap ring groove is. But anyhow, today was really fun. We're still fighting that wonderful Kubota out there. We put 4 injectors in it, and we got all the regen lights to go off, but it's I test drove it twice now. I put the 4 injectors in, I put trim file codes and all that stuff in there. I test drove it one time, and you got to drive it like 4 or 5 miles, and then it'll just shut off on you, just like you turn the key off, and then it will not start. There's no codes in it. The only thing that I noticed on the second test drive was that the DPF outlet temperature was clear up to 1,000 degrees, but that inlet gas temperature number 2 sensor, there was no code in there for it. So I think I got it figured out now, but I ended up pulling the DPF and taking it back to the shop today, and I took it apart, and I found that the differential pressure sensor hose had a hole in it, so obviously it wasn't going to read the differential pressure on the DPF filter. Oh, okay. I want to explain something on this gasket. This bearing retainer's got an oil feed hole in it, and you got to line up your gasket, your holes there. Make sure that's lined up, or you'll starve that bearing of the input shaft bearing with oil, and it's not good. Anyway, and then line up the hole in the bearing retainer with the oil feed hole in the case. I've never tried to. I don't know if those bolts are evenly spaced, or if you can even try to, get it out of time there. But make sure you do that. Anyway, so brought that Kubota DPF filter back to the shop there and took it apart. Man, it was plugged up pretty bad. And then I found that hole in the differential pressure sensor hose. So anyway, we're gonna clean that filter out. Put a new hose on the differential pressure sensor hose, and then take it back and stick it back on there. So hopefully that'll take care of it. I mean, it was really plugged bad. It had a lot of black soot in it. I mean, I blew tons and tons of soot out of that thing. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out this bell housing gasket, and sometimes I get a little bit dyslexic, and I thought I was about to get pissed off for a minute because I thought they gave me the wrong gasket and the wrong kit, but it was just me. I had it on there backwards. So remember that. So there's a gasket behind your bearing retainer. There's a gasket between the bell housing and the front half case of the transmission. And once you get that, you can you slide your bell housing on there. And I don't know, I've never torqued one of those bell housings. I think the only time I really torqued them is when I first started rebuilding these Eaton transmissions years ago. And I probably should torque it, to be honest with you. I'm not telling you to just slam them on there with an impact, but I watched a guy that's all he does is rebuild those Eaton transmissions, and excuse me, and I never saw him on the bell housings. I never saw him pull out a torque wrench, and that's all he did was rebuild Eaton transmissions. He was really good at it, and I saw him do that, and I thought, well, I guess maybe I don't need to torque them down. So that's kind of what I've done ever since. I just slide them over the studs there and put the nuts and washers on it, and then you've got some half-inch bolts there too to hold it on there, and I just rattle them down with the impact. I've never had one leak or fall off, but anyhow, it's up to you what you want to do there. Alright, so I got two of them knocked out. This style here is, I mean, you could use either or if you wanted. The other style is a longer bushing. It's got a elliptical hole in it for the grease to feed in it. The style that come out of there had two short bushings with a space in between them, so the grease comes in between them. The grease holes in between them, so you just got to kind of space them out right. Alright, so let's drive the first one in. Don't spread on me. That one there, you'll drive it till it's flush on the other side. I got something going on. I'll be back. Okay, I don't know, there's just a lot of traffic. Got the door closed so my dogs aren't out in the road. It's harvest time, a lot of stuff going on right now, so. That one a little bit too much with that one. Okay. Another new bushing. Basically just put this one flush with this side is what I do. What I do is you'll roll the edges a little bit with your bearing driver. I just take a file and I just clean the edges up. So that's one side in. This other side, you gotta beat the shaft out of it. Now it's going to get tough because you're trying to push. Let me get over here. I'm trying to get closer to the camera. I'm trying to push both bushings out at one time so it comes out. They usually, especially if they've been in there a long time like these, and they've never greased these, that's why we got to make sure that grease comes through the hole before we put the cross shafts in there. Alright. Oh, see, that's what'll happen. It's a split bushing and the dirty bastard will split on you. There, we can still save it. No, and I've got some more over there. There, see it? Pulling it back together. It isn't the first time that that's happened. About 1/8 of an inch more. And every time I go just a touch too damn far. Okay, one more bushing, and then I'll get a file and clean the corners up. And we'll get a grease gun and make sure grease comes through these holes. I'll probably never get greased again, but I try to grease my truck once a week. You know, I really get paranoid about my throw-out bearing running out of oil. Yeah, I'll have to clean those corners up where it rolled the edges a little bit with a file. Okay, yeah. Get in there nice and tight like. Or not, yes, he said to get in there nice and deep like. It's amazing, I don't ever brag about the YouTube thing. I don't say much to most people. I just do my thing. And it's amazing how it's just funny when you get a person that you've known, like I haven't talked to in a while, and then they find out they think it's pretty cool that you're doing a YouTube thing. Yeah, we'll stack that there clutch up in there, hitter. Get that in there now. Got a 2-piece clutch brake, stuck that on there. Boom, let's turn that on. That'll probably help things a little bit, huh? Come on, I'm gonna, once I get to that point, I'm fixing to grab that. I gotta put a clutch fork and all that good stuff on there, but I'm gonna go get the battery charger and put it on these batteries and see if I can get them charged up. Maybe the damn thing will start when I'm ready to run it a little bit. I had a guy call me yesterday, Scotty from Pape, John Deere, called me and wanted to know if I wanted to work on a, that was a John Deere dealer, and they were going to send a 75C Challenger my way to work on, because they said they don't work on them, and I said sure, and the guy said he called me, he's a logger down in Wairika area. I think it's the guy, I don't want to put his name, I think it's the guy that, I'm not going to say his name, but I think it's the guy that owns Chuck L Logging. I think that's the outfit, anyhow. But he was going to bring that up here today, maybe today, but might be Monday. 75C Challenger. I'm pretty good on those 75Cs. We had a 75C Challenger when I worked for the strawberry nurseries, and I really liked it. It had a 3176. The only thing I didn't like about that 3176 cap motor is it had it's what I call a spacer plate motor. It had an aluminum spacer plate, and they were kind of prone to the spacer plate getting electrolysis in them and rotting out and blowing head gaskets, but I didn't really care for that too much. But other than that, though, that machine itself was a really good machine. The 75Cs, you know, when Cat was in there doing their thing with those Challengers, and we had a 95E. We had 2 or 3 of those big ones. I think I'm trying to remember. I think we had a 95E. We might have had 2 of those. We had an 85. We had an 85C or something. I can't remember if it was an 85C or an E. Can't remember. But it seems like we had 2 of the older styles, and one of the newer is the 95E. That 95E had a 3196 in it. Same thing as the C12. Good machine. Straight track. Didn't have the elevator track in it. You know, with the big drive sprocket on the back. The drive sprocket was pretty much the same size as the front idler. I might have to knock that cross shaft back a little ways to get on that one. Tap it back in there and put our clutch fork on there. Oh. What's going on here? She's a little tight. Going on there, I guess. Where's my slot at? It's clear on the other side where it don't need to be. Kind of need it to go straight up and down. Somewhere in there would be nice. She's going. And this one here's got a kind of a notch in it to where the bolt will go through it. Huh. Dirty son of a gun, you. It's not wanting to turn in there.
So what I'm gonna do, she's pretty stiff. She is a pretty stiff rigging there. That's okay. Okay, that one's in there. Okay, I need to go over and get it centered. See what? Probably should have cleaned that shaft up a little better. Probably would have helped me out quite a bit, but alright. This one's got the big fat washer in it. Damn it. Wonder if I can get a bar or something and try to hold the dirty bastard in there. Where's that big fat washer at? That'll kind of help guide it and line it up. Alright. Probably gonna hit the end. Oh, it's a lot easier when the transmission's out of it, but probably could have cleaned the shaft up a little better, but okay, we're getting there. Actually, that's probably gonna work right there. Go a little bit further if I can. That ought to work right there. Where'd my other bolt go? What's going on here? I know. There it is. Alright, there we go, guys. Alright. So now put that all the way like that. When you stack your clutch up, then you can roll your clutch fork down and over the top of your throwout bearing, and away you go. And I can actually take this bolt or this arm actually, what the hell, huh? And good rule of thumb is the engine usually stops in the same position 9 times out of 10. And when you shut it off. So I always put the adjuster facing down where you would normally adjust it. So the first thing you do is slide the old pressure plate on. If you can get it up in here. Got a block hitting me in the back here. It's wonderful. Alright. So then you basically slide it in over your throwout bearing, just like you would if you were sliding the transmission into it the old-fashioned way. I'm trying to get my light adjusted to where I can see what the hell is going on here. I'm hitting somewhere. She ought to go on there. I don't see why she... There she goes. And you'll take your clutch for it. There goes the damn phone. Pressure plate's on there. Let me get my clutch disc. Okay, which one is this one here? Remember, this is that clutch that I couldn't read the marks on one disc when I opened the box up. Now this one here says flywheel side, so the other one must be pressure plate side. There's a tag on it, but you can't read it anymore. So that's got to be pressure plate side. Why is that not sitting right in there? Must be that thing they've got in there for, must be a little bit crooked or something. It's kind of not really sitting in there right. What the hell's going on? Oh, I see. It is a little bit. The little plastic thing they've got in there to. The little plastic thing they've got in there isn't quite. I see it's kind of not sitting in there square, so it's kind of got the pressure plate angled a little bit. How about go like that? It's just got her. It's crooked a little bit. I think it'll be okay, but it should kind of slide together and bolt together. Hopefully. Everything's heavy. There's that one. Flywheel side. Alright. So let's see if it'll go together. Yeah, that's what it is. It's got the pressure plate pulled in at an angle. The way the little plastic thing is on the bottom, you know, that spreads the throw up bearing out. It's kind of got the pressure plate cocked like that a little bit, so you know, I wish it was a regular transmission job and it wasn't one of these Western Stars with this motor mounts. See, I mean, it's really tight going in, because if you raise your jack too much, then your bell housing hits your mount. I mean, it's a fine line, but then you're letting it down far enough to where you're on the rubber mounts. So it's just tighter than hell going in. So I'm going in with it right now. I'll get back here and oh man, I don't really care for this style. The nice style is the old style with the, you know, the mounts that are on the engine, not on the damn transmission bell housing. They're just kind of a pain, but let me get back here and push on it. So I got 2 bolts in there. Sometimes you got a hole that'll line up with the ring gear, and the way they got the tachometer speed sensor in the bell housing, I don't want to mess around cutting the wires. I got it solid wired. I could take it out. You could take a bar and ring, you know, go from there to there, you know, to the next bolt hole. But what we're doing is I got to get on. I gotta climb out, I got a ratchet and a wrench on the accessory drive, and it's just like anything else. You just, if you're putting a torque converter in, you don't tighten her down all the way till you get them all started. Just a good rule of thumb there, because every time I try to get ahead of myself like that, it usually ends up hanging me. So you're gonna have to make 2 complete revolutions to get them all tight. I'm trying to figure out how far I need to go when I bar it over. Okay, that wasn't too bad. About a 1/4 turn. Get you to the next hole. Maybe more on the next one, because there's a gap between the holes in the pressure plate here. I just get them started and just run them in just a little bit. Go to the next hole. It's a lot easier when you got a hole, or you got 2 people, would be really nice. Alright, where are we at now? Alright guys, so it's this clutch rod going from the clutch arm here on the cab, both Heim joints, they just fell out of it. Where's the ball socket in? Yeah, I just took them when I took the thing off. They just fell out. So I got new Heim joints, 1/2-inch Heim joints. But look at this. Can you see that? Isn't that really nice where that pivots? That's just special. You gotta be shitting me. You know, these guys go and adjust. Does anybody ever look at this and adjust the clutch or anything? It's just, I'm sorry, man, but it's just like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Really? bad, man. Tighten this jam here. I'm gonna go break the other loose end. It just had the rod sucked up just as tight as it would go. Maybe they had it sucked up really tight. I've noticed a lot of these guys, they have no idea what a clutch adjustment is. Have no clue. They don't know what free play is. They don't set their clutch brake gap up right, either 1/2 inch to 9/16. Okay. Got the jam nut up against that one, but I gotta get another 3/4. Alright guys, I don't have the drive line in it yet, but I just want to verify before it's getting late, it's about 7 p.m. I want to verify before I get too much further that the clutch is going to release like it's supposed to. And everything, that the transmission will go into gear and come out of gear. And you're not going to get the free play and all that kind of stuff set right on this thing with the, with all that shit worn out there on the pivot point on the firewall. Come on, you old girl. You're idle, don't you? Alright, let's see if she'll go into first. Okay, she goes into first. I'm gonna come out of gear.